poison on my blade. Then let's go!
I like spiders. No, I don't mean arachnids. I mean small, formal indie studio from France that made some overly ambitious Eurojank. All their games had unique setting and ideas behind them. I played only Technomancer. But even if I like general setting and ideas behind the game, sometimes questionable quality of writing, not good combat, and every present backtracking breaked by combat with still same enemies, and more importantly, constantly respawning some enemies, which sometimes cannot be avoided, sort my fun. Well, in 2019 Spiders released a new game, Greedfall, and some of the gaming media were full about how this game replaced Void left by Bioware. And also user reviews were not exactly bad, so I decided to give this game a shot. First, start with positives. Game is running without any issues. That may not seem to be much, but I'm used to playing games from late 90s, early 2000s, which are not exactly compatible with modern hardware. And even some modern AAA titles are not running always well without some tinkering or community patches, so fact that small, an independent studio was able to make game so big running so well is actually impressive. Only downside in technical side is rarely popping textures and not greatest optimization. It's not a terribly optimized game, but it's definitely GPU bound, and I feel like game doesn't look so great for what GPU is demanding. Another good aspect is graphics. Dynamics, lighting and lighting effects are great. Game is always looking good thanks to that, and golden hours are magnificent. And great shader works and physically based rendering are also helping this game looking good. Not great, but good. Aspect where a game shows its AA roots are not always crisp textures and bit stiff animations. Soundtrack is there and audio is decent, with exceptions of voice acting. Which is superb by AA standards, especially the character of Petrus, whose voice acting is just awesome.
Congratulations! Those are great responsibilities for someone as young as yourself. But you will bring honor upon your family and the congregation. Of that I'm certain.
I thank...
My dear child, what can I do for you?
What was your role at my uncle's court? Were you already an ambassador?
No. But I was part of the embassy. I had only just started my career as a diplomat back.
Yeah, there are some funny little bugs, but overall, technical side of game is impressive for what this game is. I already spoke about game in length, and I didn't mention gameplay. So, game is third-person RPG, with action combat but also pausing. It's something akin to Dragon Age Inquisition, but with less useless marks on map, and combat more similar to Witcher 3. You have light attack, heavy attack and some form of special attack that takes energy from this bar. This is same for all weapons, with exception of firearms. And weapons. They are melee, so blades, blunt weapons, one-handed and two-handed, firearms and magical missiles. Distinction between weapons is relatively major, but I will speak about that in later. In combat, you try to dodge enemies' attacks and hit at them. Basically every second RPG since Dark Souls has this combat system. But here you can abuse shift for those sweet invincibility frames and you are not penalized. I'm not biggest fan of stamina system in games, but here we could use one because your only consequences for dodge is about second long pause between moves. The moment you realize this, combat becomes trivial. You can dodge around every enemy. Also, all weapons are not equal. For example, firearms are totally OP. Swords and other weapons for melee are really decent. And magic requires mana, and also damage output from magic is not exactly greatest. You are not close to enemies, so it's less chance that you will get hit, but in return you will be killing some enemies for eternity. Combat may be better than in Technomancer and Gunnar stances that were more restrictive than fun, but combat is still among weakest part of the game. Don't take me wrong, it's not bad, but it's just decent at best. Rest of gameplay is much better, control is fine, UI is clear and usable. There are multiple solutions how to tackle problems inside a game world and quest. And some solutions are available only if you build your character specific way. Speaking of character building, you can choose your gender, appearance, and one of 3 classes. This choice only affects your starting equipment and skills, and later in game you can build your character freely. Character development in this game is decent. Your character development is split between 3 screens: skills, attributes, and talents. First, you have skills which you can unlock new types of weapons and also made you fight better with this weapon. Attributes unlock you ability to use better weapons, and they make you generally stronger, like better health and better mana. Then you have talents like charisma, lockpicking, science and intuition. They seem to unlock new solutions to quests, but generally they make you progress through story quickly and save you some backtracking. Let's show possibilities of this system in one quest early in the game. You have to save your cousin, but first you have to find him. You can learn his location by doing side quests, or simply randomly find him by walking around.
I have a ship to catch!
Then you can go down here, and if you have science on level 1, you can let this wall explode and get to him with ease. Neither of my character was able to do that, so I had to go through main gate. Here you can try stealth or fight enemies, or pay for his release. If you get upstairs, he is held in behind this door, and you can lockpick them or find a key.
Well, this has been monumental.
And at least when you released him, you have options to snag outside, or if you didn't kill guards down below, you have no option to take revenge on them. This is one of the better quests in game, but sadly, not every quest has as many opportunities as this one. There are some places where you can bypass stealth by just wearing right clothes. And in that case, you can wander around freely.
I've already seen this type of engine in my uncle's court.
And I almost forget, what is Bioware style RPG without romances? I mean, companions. In Greedfall, you have 5 companions, 1 for each faction. They all have their own loyalty system, and you can make quests for each of them, which is crucial if you want to build a loyalty with them. Too bad most of them, beyond basic concept, are not so well built, and I didn't find them so engaging as, for example, companions in Bioware older games.
Atuai, Siens Radi Dao Quint. That I could me in.
Attention, soldier!
Level design. Maps are generally in this game well done, with great visual design. They were able to hide some shortcomings of the engine, whether you are in lush forest, farmlands, or bustling town, everything looks great. Well, towns are not as bustling as they seem at first glance, because there is absolutely minimum interactable NPCs. Exteriors are simply well done. Sadly, same cannot be said about interior. There is little variety in all palaces, taverns and houses. They all simply look same, which is simply breaking the ability of game world apart. Another issue that I had with game world is that game world is at first glance bigger than it seems. Let me explain. Game world is made of corridors, and they are so well hidden that map seems sometimes seamless, but in reality it's not, which can cause confusion. For example, down here I can only get by this short corridor. Also, you can find in game world places where you can get only by learning proper talent. But places are chests with some reward, but generally they are not so big.
I need a bit of practice.
Great thing about this game world is that it's not filled with Ubi-esque garbage, like Odyssey, for example, but mostly meaningful content. To summarize, the level design is mostly good, level looks great, but they don't feel really lived, and it's amplified by recyclation of interiors. And now I will be talking about story and story pacing, and cause I found it to be one of the most problematic aspect of this game, I will definitely spoil everything, so if you don't want to spoilers, just skip here. Alright, game starts really strong, preparing you to leave island. You learn combat, say goodbye to your mother which is dying of mysterious disease, and you promise her to find cure for it, even though she will not able to survive. And first quest you have to find your cousin, and let the diplomats know that you are leaving island. And there are some side quests. After you spoke to diplomats and found your cousin, you have to fight this monstrum. And aboard to island. Important notion, you are the Sarde, diplomats of Congregation of Merchants.
Ambassador of the Congregation of Merchants.
And so your function is basically combat diplomat. On island you have to balance between faction and look for cure for this mysterious disease called Malichor. Also you find out that you are probably native of this island, and it's just another mystery to solve. Speaking of natives, probably my favorite action, and the game wants you to side with them because other two colonial powers are completely bland. Also, two side factions don't make exactly much sense. Well, perhaps. Makes sense that now Seaborn faction, only people that can transport things around sea because of their magic, so every faction is reliable on them makes sense. But can somebody explain me coin guards?
Please you.
Don't take offense, but it's not pleasant.
This faction in Game Wars has completely monopoly over their soldiers. Like, every other faction is dependent on their soldiers, which don't make much sense. What if they decide to completely start controlling everything and there is not one can stop them? But an unexpected twist. Yeah, I may be nitpicking, but I have to admit, first 25 hours of game is really good fun, but in last third of game everything just break apart. So, set the stage. Your cousin is sick with Malichor, and with help of native shaman you try to heal him, but shaman is killed. Your cousin is taken captive, because he's supposed to be evil. You save him and he visibly starts act evil. Then, 2 diplomats from 2 other colonial nations came asking for help. And your cousin, who is governor by the way, refused to help them, but your character, without any decision from your side, decides to help. Yeah, so much for role-playing. You cannot simply decide to help one faction and make that faction stronger, or some different decision making. You are forced to help them both, even if members of both factions try to kill you before.
What happened?
Both of these quests for factions are same. Talk to NPC A, go talk to NPC B, then you have to defend your position against same monster that you fight entire game. You defend 3 waves of enemy, go talk back to NPC B, which gives you location of NPC C. There you fight again, and it ends with fight with same monster boss that you fight already couple times. But this time it's something new. This time he has dark particles. I don't know why they feel necessary to artificially prolong a game that I already played for 30 hours, but hey, here we are. You found out that your cousin is evil. Big shock, I know.
Constantine, what are you doing? Cousin! You're here! I would have preferred...
Near the end, all decision making and illusion of choice and role-playing break apart. Then you have to convict every faction. That only way that's how to do that is do every quest for them. I mean, really, this faction join me even if they are suspicious of me just because I done every quest for them. And with this faction I had positive relations. They don't join me because I didn't make every quest for them, therefore they cannot trust me. I mean, what the... Please understand, at this time in storyline I saved them 2 times and they cannot trust me. In the end, talent turns out to be just way how to skip some unnecessary chore and done games more quickly. Thankfully you don't have to have every faction at final battle. It means just few battles you will fight on your own, but it doesn't matter.
I do not desire...
In the end, I decided to end my cousin, and the game ends with meme.
What a shame.
What a shame.
Good night, sweet prince.
Yeah, that was my botched interpretation of events and story in game. I didn't mean to be so negative in last section of video, but really, I feel like that part of game killed it with bad pacing, backtracking and recyclation of content, like I already killed bosses, and realization that faction relations almost don't matter. It made me really frustrated with game. Sad thing is, this game is much better than Technomancer, so it's sad it fails almost in same exact aspects. I felt like faction relations had more impact even in Technomancer. Shorter games can be good, for example, Witcher 2. I finished single playthrough in 27 hours and I had fun with most of it. While in Greedfall, I finished the game in 40 hours and near end was burned by it and I finished it just because of obligation. I think people need to appreciate more shorter games. For example, Witcher 2. I done single playthrough in 27 hours and I had fun all the time, while Greedfall I finished in 40 hours and in the end I just forced myself to finish it out of obligation because I wanted to know how it ends. It's just shame because I feel like this was labor of love. For example, they even hire linguists to create whole new language for native people, which I didn't mention before. This game hits many marks to be next big thing. Sadly, at least for me, it just isn't. Spiders are preparing new games, Still Rising, with once again interesting setting, and it seems once again to be overambitious. So I will probably pass on this one. Sadly for me, Greedfall didn't felt void left by Bioware.